Hey, good evening. Welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, I'm actually coming on a letter that went because of our our present dilemma and problem with having YouTube disable our comments. People can't actually write into us unless they go to Facebook or one of the other channels that we have, like Beth's channel. But there is also another route, and this was taken by this lady, who we will let me see what. What shall I say this? What can I call this lady? It's a long letter, and she's just signed herself, God bless. So Miss God Bless has written this letter in, and she has a problem. What she did was she found a way around it by commenting on one of the videos that we did for our friends Roger and Bing of Bingala Travel. Let me see if I can get this right. Bingala Travels the Philippines. Their site is a travelogue, and full of human interest stories and sites of various things. Roger is very well versed in various aspects of the music industry and musical history, and is a great lover of the Beatles and very knowledgeable, generally speaking, about music. So that's a connection that we have. Roger came to stay with us for a while, and unfortunately we didn't get to have the company of Bing on the hill, because back then and even now the road up to our hill, it can be pretty rough on someone who has a back problem, which certainly was Bing. So she stayed down in a hotel. Roger came up and stayed, I think, at least a night, and so we got to let him get a feel for what life was like here, and we've remained firm friends ever since. And Bingala Travel have been extremely generous to Beth and I by using their connections and putting us up at the fabulous waterfront hotel right next to Macton Airport. So Roger wrote to me yesterday, I think it was, and he said that there was this letter from, let's say, Miss God Bless. Okay, so he said that her problem seemed like something that would be worthy of us trying to help with. Now, you'll understand why it's me that is responding to this as soon as you hear the letter. Now, I must admit, I must apologize for the state of my glasses, because they fell apart, and I've got a piece of band-aid on them right now. So let's get to the letter. Hi Beth and Terence, I did message here, in other words Bingala Travels the Philippines, their channel. I did message here because I can't comment in your video, disabled to comments. So I hope you pay attention of my message. I just need advice from a foreigner living here in the Philippines. I have my American husband. We live here in Mindanao area. My problem, which we argue every time when we are going out, which people always say to him, "Hey Joe." Not once, and not just once, and more, and sometimes pointing him and laugh for me. I ignore that before, because what is Pinoy, especially here, only a few white people, I think that's their way to get attention. But I never thought that it's a big deal for him, and but he said it's very disrespectful. It's a very disrespectful way. He said if it was in the USA, maybe he's going to fight. That's the extent to which he is upset by this. He was also mad at me because I didn't do anything for that. I explained myself that is normal here. People kind of like that, the way to get attention. We always argue about it. Please, I need your advice from your experience as a foreigner, also live here in the films. I'm almost trying to tell him that if you won't accept that or ignore that, then just don't go out of the house. She's saying, I'm tired of arguing every time we go out, and I hope you can give me some advice on how to deal with it. Well, let me get rid of my Band-Aid glasses. Well, of course, you are correct in saying that that he needs to be able to come to terms with it. Although this is a problem that you have, in that it brings upset into your state of well-being, it is actually his problem. Now, I would hazard a guess and say that the fact that people call him Joe is not the root of the problem, right? It's not just because people call him Joe. People call me Joe, and it's not that I am exceptionally serene in my way of being things. I get as angry and upset and frustrated as anybody else does. But what's happening for him, I think, is that there is something else that's there. Now, you don't say how long you have lived here, but you do say that he's American and you're living in Mindanao. And Mindanao is not so heavily populated with foreigners that they don't actually escape attention. Now, here in Taliban, foreigners are not so, they're not so scarce. There's quite a few foreigners in Taliban, and some are good and some are bad, and some are well behaved and some are not, and some are liked and some are not, and it's like it is anywhere in the world. You know, some people get on and some people don't, and then there are all kinds of in-between stages. But if he's getting to the point where he is suggesting that if it was in America he would be fighting, quite a few people are called Joe in America, and so I don't know what an equivalent Filipino would suffer if he went to America. People will call, would he get offended if somebody called him hello Filipino? I doubt it, but I'm being a little bit flippant and trying to keep it light here. He needs to make changes himself. Now, the big thing about coming to the Philippines, usually, I'm going to make a generality, which I'm the first to admit, generalities don't work. They're not, in general, they don't work, okay? But I think what happens for many foreigners is that they are in a state of running away. I'm the first to admit, I ran away from the life I had in the Philippines and in America. I ran away because I was in search of a better kind of life. So what's wrong with running away from that, you know? Now, if he came to the Philippines, as most of the people that write to me and tell me that their plan is to come to the Philippines, let me tell you the way that it usually is. They've usually found a lovely lady who is, in coming to them and being prepared to be with them, is offering them a second chance at life. Now, lots of people, myself included, had second and third and so on chances at marriage, which never worked out. But when you come to the Philippines and enjoy the companionship and committance of a Filipina, it's another chance at life. It's a different way of life. Now, Is it always going to be magical? No, it's not. You come to this country and it is so different. I always describe the difference. It's not a cultural gap. The gap cannot be described as a gap. The gap between the two cultures is Grand Canyon-esque. It's like the Grand Canyon. I don't believe that a foreigner coming here, a male, can come here and ever fully understand a Filipina, even the one that he loves and respects and cherishes and thinks is wonderful, one that is his queen, his princess, like my warrior princess. You want to understand them? It won't happen. It's not understanding, it's acceptance. And you need to be able to accept that there is a huge, profound difference in the way that the Asian mind thinks. It's just wired differently. I don't know I don't know why, because I'm just admitted that I will never understand it, but I accept it. Now, in acceptance, there is something that you have to do yourself. You have to change. Now, why the heck should you change? Why should we change? Why can't she take on some of my culture? Well, I'll tell you, she didn't go to your country. You came to hers. So, for your husband, he has some changing to do, and there is no other way around it. Now, I tell you, I'll do another video on this which goes into much greater detail, but to oversimplify it, this is often what happens, is that someone comes over and they enjoy the company of a lovely lady, whatever age, whatever looks, whatever. A Filipina is known to be more loving and committed. Now, I'm not talking, I have to do the disclaimer every time, because someone will call up and say, well, I met a beautiful girl in a bar or in this place or that place, and she robbed me blind. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about someone where you made a logical decision that this was someone that you could spend your life with and grow with. Now, that's the kind of marriage and union that I'm talking about. Not about one where you met in dodgy circumstances and then tried to change them by offering them security and this and that. I'm talking about a genuine meeting of the minds and the hearts, which does happen, and it can happen very fast when you come out here, simply because both parties are looking for a place where they can rest their heart. They're looking for that. They're actively looking for it. They're actually actively committed to the idea that the person for them is out there. Now, when I met Beth, on the basis of talking to her over 8 or 10 hours, I decided that this was something that I couldn't let go. And I was leaving the next morning, and we hadn't done anything. Okay, we talked. It was the night of an earthquake. It was the day of an earthquake that I'd experienced. I experienced that earthquake in Cebu, and of course so did Beth. And she was in a situation where she was scared of being where she was anyway, so she got in a cab and came to me, and that's how we met. We'd already exchanged texts in exactly the same way that most people do, and we already knew that there was some kind of chemistry there. I'd seen a picture of her, she'd seen a picture of me, and we were both looking, actively looking. Now, I'm assuming that you did the same with your husband. Now, here's the difference. is that your husband made a choice to be here, and he went to a place where, from what you say, there is little or no support for him as a foreigner. Now, in order to be able to make it through this kind of situation, you have to be self-contained. And in order to do that, you have to understand what your situation is. And his situation is he's in a foreign country. Now, he's in a foreign country, and here's a point of reality, a little reality check. It's not likely that any foreigner, no matter how clever, no matter how spiritual, no matter how huge an icon he is in his own country, is not coming here and change the Filipino race. The Philippines as a country are not waiting for you, whoever you are, to come here and show them how to live different. They have a secret that is so often overlooked that I can't believe it for myself, and that is they're actually happy. Filipinos are happy people. You think you can run away from a place where you see that people are not happy, wherever your country is, be it the UK or Germany or I don't know, anywhere, America, Australia, and you come here seeking a better life and a happier life, and you meet a nation of people who have found that secret. Are they rich? No, they're not rich. Are they able to show you how to do everything so much better than in your highly skilled number one nation, country? No, they're not. Some of it's very basic. They're building, in a lot of ways, if you're living in the hills or the mountains like we are, their building is humble. It's not like it was. It's not a stainless steel kitchen and a 6 foot high refrigerator with more food than you can ever eat in a month. All of that is not here. But the happiness, the openness of heart, the people who actually care and know how to smile at the drop of a hat, they're here. Is it so bad that they're calling you Joe? I don't think it is. I think that that's what you pick on. I don't think that that's the reason that you are getting upset. I promised you an oversimplified way of looking at this a few minutes ago, and then got sidetracked, as I often do. This is the way that I think you might find what your problem actually is. It's not about being called Joe. Would it be the same if it was Harry, or Sid, or Sinclair? Who knows? There's an underlying problem there that you need to find out and face for yourself. Now, I'll take a guess and offer this as a possible way that things have gone. You've met your lovely lady, you've come over here, you may have come from a cold country, you may have come from a cold area of the US, and you come out here and the weather is gentle. The way that you can live on the money that you have, you're obviously retired or at least have some kind of an income. It's 50 times greater here, and 52 to the dollar, and you can live here without being in anxiety about whether you're going to be able to meet the bills. You can live here. There's a lot going for it. So you have your lady, you have your freedom from worry of the bills, you have a lovely climate and a beautiful country and a place where, if you wish, you can make friends, right? But you've lost your support team. You probably had good friends that you went out for a drink with, or you went out for I don't know, Dunkin' Donuts. You may have had people that you were close to that you could get in the car and go and have someone listen to you. Now, you haven't got that here, so you have to be self-sufficient. But it is necessary for Miss God Bless to realize that instead of hitting him back by saying, well, if you can't stand that, don't go out. That's not, you may feel that that's okay, but it's not. You're going to have to offer this man that you committed to a way of expressing how he feels about things. So do some fishing. Is there something else that you're, but don't do it so it's so obvious that he says, oh, you're going to be the psychiatrist now. No, don't do that. But you must find out what it is that is at the root of why, at the last resort, the straw that broke the camel's back is being called Joe. When someone is called Joe, a generic name for everybody that is American, me included, it means, hey, mister, you are separate from us. You are not the same as us. We don't recognize you. We recognize you as being different to us. You'll never be like us. You'll never look like us. Unlike being in America, where we could go and be called American, you can't call yourself Filipino. Get used to it. And the way that we're going to remind you about that every time is we're going to say, hey, Joe. Well, the thing about laughing is not the same. It's not the same body language here in the Philippines. It's not the same. It doesn't mean the same. If you've watched any of our videos, you will have seen that one lady, when she knew that her daughter had a compound fracture of the leg, laughed. Now, did she think it was funny? No, she didn't. But as soon as she realized just how terrible the news was, she laughed. And it's called not being able to confront the reality. So she laughed. And that is how Filipinas face adversity, by laughing. You can go and the general news being discussed can be terrible. It can be terminal for someone that is being discussed, and they'll laugh, they'll smile. You could say, what the hell are you smiling at? And they'll smile. So you got to get used to that and start to interpret body language in a different way. But you are going to have to change. Either that, or maybe what your wife is saying as the negative resolution to your problem is, stop living. Don't go out anymore. Don't do anything. Don't be happy. Don't see any more of the country. Don't mix with anybody. That's what not going out means. And of course, that's not a solution. You need to change. You need to forget the hey Joe and what it really means. Maybe if you learn a little bit of the language, you could protect yourself. I don't know much of the language. I'm here, Visayan. I know a few phrases. I know how to say, I have a beautiful wife, akong asawa guapa. And the other day when we were out and somebody thought he was making fun, I knew a couple of words. And he did the thing like this because he saw me with a camera. Look at me. I'm handsome. Right? And handsome is, for a man, is guapo. And if you say you say ikaw. And if you say me, you say ako. And I looked at him and I said, hindi, which means no. And then I said, ako, guapo, ikaw, pangit, which is ugly. Now he took that in very good heart. and everybody laughed. So a couple of words here and there you might find are very useful. It's useful to be able to say, you are beautiful. Ikaw ay maganda is you are beautiful. I think that is Tagalog, but if you wanted to say it in Visayan, you would say ikaw ay guapa, which if you say that to a child, a little girl, and you look at her and you say ikaw ay guapa, then she will light up. And if it's a boy, you say guapo, ikaw ay guapo, and you can say that, ikaw ay guapo, and he will be delighted. You need to be able to say, I love you, mahal kita. It's a few words, but you will be able to find a way to communicate with just a few words. Try it. Try to change you instead of changing the Filipino people. I hope this helps. Thanks for logging in. This is A Foreigner in the Philippines. And bye for now. And Roger and Bing and at Bangla, sorry, that is a difficult one, isn't it? Bingla Travels the Philippines. Try giving their site a little nod if you want to see what the comments were on this particular video. It's over there as well. And bye for now. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.